On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1992. We're going to be taking a look at Archangels, and they're going to be performing Good Time. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So this is going to be quite a short performance, just over 3 minutes in length, so we'll watch it the whole way through, then we'll jump into the analysis after. As always, there's a link in the description below, just in case you want that to watch the video multiple times. And just for reference, in the original video that is linked, it's been spelt Archangels, but it's definitely Archangels. So we'll jump into it and see how they get on.
With some friends of mine down in Hollywood, I just wasting time. I knew I did, nobody could get me down, 'cause I was taking my ship out on the town. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. Better than this. And then Charlie said, no place. So is that's when I saw her face. Yeah, and then I knew I was gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time. Good time. Come here, guitar. I walked over to her, just a begging to please. I said, hey baby, do you wanna go out with me? You wanna know what she said? We're gonna have a good time. Didn't she say? Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
And there we have it. So the first thing to point out about this live performance is that groove that we've got going on. I mean, it is so solid from that rhythm section perspective. And when I say about the rhythm section, you guys will know, or fans of Archangels or Stevie Ray Vaughan will know, that we've got the rhythm section here from Double Trouble. And I mean, I've got a sub here, so I am spoilt because I can turn that up to 11 and just appreciate how tight Tommy Shannon is here on bass, and Chris Layton, by the way, if you don't know, on drums. And having that foundation is so important because it's giving you the feel of the song. Obviously, we've got great guitar work over the top as well. We've got Charlie Sexton here on second guitar and Doyle Bramwell the second here on lead vocals with that lead guitar solo as well. And just dropping in and out of the rhythm, It is so well put together with the verse sections as well, because Doyle's guitar will just come down ever so slightly. And when I say about coming down, it isn't somebody at the desk. I mean dynamically. He's just kind of picking through the chords really quietly. But most of it, I think, is Charlie on that second guitar. And we've got a little bit of chorus on the sound as well. There's so much headroom in this performance, but it is so solid. And I mean, this kind of thing's right up my street, as I'm sure you guys know if you've watched the channel for any length of time. Just to mention as well that these guys got together after the tragic loss of Stevie, because Charlie and Doyle were friends of Stevie's, and Double Trouble were, of course, his rhythm section. But here we get this solid groove straight off the bat. And especially with Doyle's playing style, we've got this, you know, almost reckless way of playing, but it's not reckless at all, because technically it's great. And as soon as we start off, we get the groove immediately. And we've got this, I mean, if you're playing this and you're being too strict with it, it's not going to work, because we've got this, and it's kind of, you know, all of that with that rhythm hand on the right hand. You know, that kind of thing. We'll jump back to the beginning of the performance and have a listen to exactly what's going on. So it's just all of that bounce in there. Actually, it's kind of like that. We've got that, you know, but it's all about that rhythm section. I mean, you could just listen into that, how solid it is throughout the whole performance. And we've just got, I mean, that foundation, we've just got, you know, icing and then cherries on top all over the place because of the guitar work, and then the really laid back vocal from Doyle as well. But we'll listen on a little bit more.
I was hanging out with some friends of mine.
So now listen to how everything's dropped out apart from Tommy's bass and a little bit of what sounds like, you know, a kind of E7th shape and that kind of thing.
Down in Hollywood, I was just wasting time. I knew I did nobody.
It sounds like we go to a, we might get that, which would be our kind of E. So sounding a little bit more like an A sus4, but it's a really subtle change because the bass is still, you know, still playing our, you know, in the background.
Could get me down, 'cause I was taking my ship out on the town. Yeah, gonna have a good time.
Oh, and just while we're looking here, because we had that little, you know, a little pinch down from Doyle there, and while we're looking at this screen, let me just take it back a little bit, because as I mentioned in a video ages ago about Doyle, the way that he plays his guitar, having it strung upside down. So it means that when he's playing this riff, it will look like he's playing it on his, you know, his B string, effectively, but he's not, because his low strings are down here and his high strings are the ones closest to him. So, I mean, it's going to give it a bit of a unique sound. Obviously, you know, the technique is going to be totally different, but this is something that was mentioned in the live stream recently, I think the last one, where somebody was asking about, you know, stringing your guitar the other way around and playing over the top of the guitar as well. And, you know, it's just the way that you learn to play. Doyle has just learned to play the guitar with the strings the opposite way around, and it's no harder or easier than learning with the standard string setup. It's just what you get used to. And yeah, it's really interesting to watch, because when you're looking at all the lines that he's playing, it just doesn't make sense looking at it. But once you know the strings and the orders, it's all fine.
We're gonna have a good time. Better than this. And then Charlie said, down
we have this little A that comes in. And again, we've got that little jump in there as well. And that little slide up that we had there from Doyle. And I love that. You know, it is so tight. And when I say tight before on the channel, some people say, what do you mean? I mean, it is so precise timing-wise between the drums and the bass, and that's your rhythm section, but just the whole band. But once that rhythm section is tight, with all of these kind of, you know, accents, you know, getting that just spot on, you know, foot pedal and bass, you can't beat it when you just got a great rhythm section.
We're gonna have a good time.
And we had that, yeah, you know, same theme on that riff. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I love that kind of thing as well, where we jump into the yeah, and rather than just going and playing it straight, you know, it's just putting in that deliberate pause, you know, just doing something musically that's a little bit more interesting. And the chord progression that we've got going on here, I mean, it's not complicated. I mean, we've got it all based around our E7 position here, and that A that we go to as well. But when we break off into this, you know, our D here, C with that hammer on with the second finger, just by changing up the timing, it makes it more interesting, but also it gives you a little bit of a break away from everything that we've had so far, because just going between our E and our A, you know, it can start to get a little bit repetitive. Let's listen on.
Come here, guitar.
And we've kind of got this, that kind of thing. Let me try that again. So, lots of sliding. Actually, we've got this. He's using his first finger, but obviously when he's playing it, it's around the other way. So he looks like he's playing his low E string, but it's his high E string. You know, it feels weird for me to do that, but you know, a little bit of a wild approach. I think then going back to playing the pick the second time. Yeah, and now we're into this. You know, and he's actually, you know, really giving it some with that vibrato, which is so cool. Like I said at the beginning of this video, it's wild, but it's really controlled, because to get that that kind of sound from it, you know, you've got to play it wildly, else it won't sound like that. If you went and did it like that, it's not going to work. You've got to get that right hand going. So we have that kind of wild approach to it, but it's all under control with, you know, muting with that right hand to make sure that, you know, Doyle's just getting the strings that he wants to, you know, to ring out without being too wild that it kind of turns into, and you know, you're hitting all the strings and it becomes a mess. So we kind of had the, you know, all that kind of stuff. We even came over, actually, you know, did a little bit of that on the guitar, and we had the, you know, actually coming over the top of the guitar playing as well. So yeah, really cool stuff. And then bringing it all back down to now get into the verse. Let's continue.
That I ever did see. I walked over to her, just a begging to please. I said, hey baby, do you wanna go out with me? You wanna know what?
You can hear Charlie in the background there with that. Actually, it's kind of a little bit cleaner. You know, just playing that 12th fret on that high E. 12th fret on the high E, the B and the G, you know, just to be technically accurate.
We're gonna have a good time. Good season. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
So we had and it's actually being played up on the 12th fret, but we also have this semitone run up. Let's have a so we're going kind of like that. I think we've still got that bounce in there of the, you know, so you still want to keep that little hop in there. Interestingly, when we have a look at the way that Doyle is playing this, I mean, this is really cool, this video, because the cameraman, or at least the producer, is just cutting to the correct camera. So many times there's a solo going on and you can't see what's going on because you might be looking at the bassist or the drummer and you actually want to see the lead guitar solo. So looking at this, obviously it looks like he's hitting his high strings, but we've already covered that. There's this kind of technique of like that, kind of throwing it all together, doing loads of muting, you know. And if I was playing this, I would, as you probably saw when I played it a minute ago, I would keep a little bit more of a rein on that right hand to make sure that all of those, all just my preference, you know, alternate picking, you know, going up and down. I tend to want a little bit more control there, but I mean, Doyle is, you know, kind of doing that. You can see all that rotation, so it means that you do get a lot more percussive sound from the strings. It's going to fill in the sound more, it's going to sound more aggressive, but it's just interesting to see how he applies that technique. Because if you do play guitar yourself, try and play a semitone run up and down like that, and those are the notes. Try and do that, but with that wider, and you'll probably find that that kind of thing happens where you get other strings ringing out and it's not exactly as you want it to sound. But let's continue. We had that, you know, a little bit of a finish there. Yeah, that kind of lead, and then just this really tight angle. And then that's it. So, I mean, such a cool performance here. But with all of this groove just throughout it, and, you know, the devil's in the detail here, because everybody picking up the guitar and playing this, yeah, they might play the chords and then play the riff and think, oh, you know, it's really easy. But a lot of people play songs without nailing the groove, and they've kind of missed the point of how you get it to sound like or feel like the original song, because you've got to try and get this rhythm section as tight as possible, but then get the feel in there. And that's exactly what we get here. I think with Chris and Tommy as your rhythm section, you can't really go wrong, but Charlie and Doyle do such a fantastic job. And I love the way that Charlie comes in with that distinctive vocal, but everything that he's doing is really subtle in the background, because for the most part on the verses, what you're hearing is Charlie on his guitar, just throwing in this really tasteful picking, and, you know, sometimes having a, you know, throwing in little bits of on that low E string. Like that. And the thing is about this is that it doesn't really matter if you're a little bit wild with it and you do catch a string. It's all part of the expression. So when you are playing this, if you approach it when, you know, it's not going to work. You've got to have all of that. And even not being afraid to hit the strings to keep your groove going. Just a joy to listen to this kind of performance just from top level musicians. But thank you guys for requesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comments section below. As always, let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!